There are a lot of reasons why people decide not to use technology in the classroom, and most of these reasons have to do with fear or economy or lack of practical means to actually implement the technology. And we've talked about some of these things already throughout the presentation that we've been talking about in the other videos. But I wanted to point out that the economical reason is not as bad as you think it is. It's not actually that expensive to actually start the process, and especially when you consider that the majority of the tools that you use have multiple uses. So when you pay for something nowadays, you actually pay for a lot. Also, the idea that practical means it's just a learning curve. So after a while, you learn how to do things and get over with the practical problems. And it's really just about the fear of not knowing how to use it and how to incorporate those things in the classroom that usually stops people from doing it. But as one common pitfall that gets a lot of people when they actually start using it is using technology for technology's sake. You know, you shouldn't use technology just to be tacky. You should use technology to solve a problem. Tools and technology should be invented in order to fulfill a purpose. And so, in other words, you need to do something with the technology that you receive. And the better way to do it is to find a need that you have and then find a tool to solve that need, not the other way around. All right, and so you hear about these people that get all this geeky stuff and all this tech gear and then ends up not using it. And yes, you can go backwards and find a tool and then find out what to do with it. But it's better if you identify your needs and identify what you want to do, and then go out there and find a better technology to do it. All right. So, for example, I want to share information, so I use YouTube. I want to share pictures, so I use Instagram. I want to share textbooks, so I use the ebook delivery system. I want to have online discussions, so I use Google Groups or Sally with texting, or Poll Everywhere for polling. I want to have an online discussion group where everybody gets to see each other and talk to each other. You can use Woovo or Skype. I want to be able to answer my students on a really fast paced setup. You can use IME or texting. I want to have the students the opportunity to create their own content and display it online. So you use blogs, Google Sites, Wikispaces, Google Docs, things like that. I want my students to find out about what I changed to my website immediately. You can use RSS feeds, and I can keep going with this. I want to have the access to information that's constantly changing, Wikispaces, Blogsphere, all this kind of stuff. And so the technologist should be part of the classroom for the sake of helping with that. So you should have cell phones in class. If their cell phones are being used for calculator purposes, for timers, for video accessing tools, for accessing to the social networking aspect of sharing the information, for being able to blog about what they're learning, for being able to create their own content, to access the Google Doc, to answer the questions online, you name it. So what I'm suggesting here is that you do use the technology, but only if the technology is fulfilling an educational purpose. And that's the biggest pitfall people fall into, is that they get all this tacky stuff and they don't actually use it. And they don't have a way to use it that actually is supposed to be helping the kids. And that's the problem a lot of people actually have. Another thing that actually is a pitfall is that misuse of technology in the classroom. So now you say you can use as much cell phone as you want. And so in it comes, and then you have a student who's using it to texting and for other purposes and talking about things that have nothing to do with biology, if you're teaching a biology class, for example. Or orchestrating a meeting in the bathroom, a secret meeting. I'm leaving right now from the class. I'm asking for a bathroom break. If you leave right now, we can meet in the bathroom and do God knows what. Trust me, principals bring that up when I tell them about using cell phones in class. Another one that is a problem, the use of recording when you're not permitting them to record, and then all of a sudden they're recording things that shouldn't be happening, and you didn't, so if something happens, now it's on record, so having control over the recording is an issue for some teachers. Having the kids accessing videos on YouTube which are not your educational videos, and all these things. My answer for all these misuse things is the same answer I always have for any problem in the classroom. It's the teacher's lack of control and management of the classroom, lack of creation for a motivating environment, and lack of demand of a product that's actually generating that. If you make it clear to the students that they will fail if they don't get the work done, if you make it clear to them that you will not tolerate misuse of the technology, and that you may even lose the privilege for themselves and perhaps for the whole class, the whole school, if they continue to misuse the technology. it's usually enough to make them stop using it. And if it's not, well, what were you doing when they were misusing the technology? How did they get caught up misusing the technology and you didn't realize they were misusing it? And so I would think that the problem is not really the technology. The problem is the people who are supposed to be keeping track of the technology. A good teacher takes control of his environment and makes it clear for the kids that anything will not be acceptable. So this is a matter of classroom management, more so than actual technology management. And I actually think that technology solves a lot of the management problems, especially the misbehavior problems, instead of creating new problems. Problems like sexting and texting and bullying can also be controlled the same way you would have to control real life problems like that. So it's really about the quality of the teacher in that case, in my opinion. Also, technical difficulties. A lot of people they don't want to do technology because they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to actually apply it. They are scared of having difficulties with it and then losing time because you're trying to fix what's wrong with it. They're scared about the expenses, how much it will cost, having more IT people. My answer to that is simple. Get educated. You are asking your kids to be educated and to become learning what you want them to learn. Why can't you do the same? Why can't we as teachers become better educators and learn how to use the technology? Learn how to fix the problems so that when there's something is down, you can fix it. You don't have to call the IT guy. Learn how to podcast. Learn how to create a website from scratch. Be involved with the things that are needed for you to be at the front end. Otherwise, you will be the dinosaur out of a job when this is the way that people do it. And you are stuck in the middle age and nobody can hire you because you don't do it that way. You're not ready to deal with the revolution. And so stop being scared of technical difficulties. And what about financial reasons? Technology is not as expensive as you think. The majority of the Web 2.0 websites are completely free. Animoto, Facebook, YouTube, it's all free. And then the tools themselves, like a web camera, you can buy it for $20. You can buy a decent microphone for $10. You can buy a trackpad to write on the screen for like $15. You can get websites for free at Google Sites. You can have free storage on SkyDrive and Google Docs. The Web 2.0 stuff is free. You can find worksheets for free, videos for free. Everything's free. Now, the actual hardware will cost you something up front, but in the end, it pays for itself because you're going to end up saving a lot of money and headaches because you're going to teach better. So it is worth investing in better bandwidth. It's worth investing in cell phones or portable media players or something of that sort. But I would like to point out that unless you're living in a very, very underprivileged neighborhood in the U.S., and even then, 90% of people have computers at their homes, and a lot of kids actually have smartphones themselves. So they can't access online, but they have a smartphone. That makes no sense. As long as you have free Wi-Fi for them on the internet, there's going to be no problem with that. And you can definitely get a router for less than $40. So with about $500 of investment, you can digitize your classroom. And that's definitely worth doing it. Also, the fear about excluding students. It's a pitfall sometimes that stops people from actually going to this. Oh, they don't know how to use it. Oh, I'm scared they don't have computers at home. Oh, I don't have internet at home. Oh, they've come from underprivileged thing. Well, my answer for that is you are excluding them if you don't do it. Because when these kids grow up and try to go into the workforce and they have to use computers, they have to use the internet, they have to use social networking, and they don't know how because they didn't go to the learning curve when they were kids. They went to the learning curve in the job workforce. They're not getting hired. It's your fault because you didn't prepare them for life. So my point of view is that we have to push parents and principals and administrators and other teachers to be involved with technology because technology is the way of the future. And we as a society are going to be behind other cultures which are doing that. And so we need to push technology. We have to prepare the kids for the future that's ahead of them. We have to demand that kids have access to technology. We have to say, you don't have an internet at home? Here's the videos on a flash drive. You don't have a flash drive? Here's a flash drive for free. It's $5 to buy one. You can do that. 1 or 2 kids are going to have that problem anyway, so you can do that. Oh, here's some CDs. Oh, you can't play it at home? Fine. Here's a computer. You can listen to it here. There's a library after school. There's a public library within anything in Miami, which is where I teach. You can't drive more than 15 minutes without hitting a library. So it's a bunch of bad excuses not to use technology. And it's actually, what those excuses are doing is creating gaps in where the students are not being prepared to the 21st century. And we as a society are lagging behind in creativity, inquiry in technology, because we're taking time away from the classroom to become lecturers. We're not letting them think and do active learning, and we're not using the technology as part of the active learning and cooperative learning and social learning. And we are isolating them from the web, which is the source of information. We're saying, I have the information. The book has the information, not the web. What is that? Who are you? In what century are you living? We have to move past that. And we are excluding the student if you don't do that. There are ways to bring a student who has problems at home into the fold or the technology, even if the ultimate solution is having the technology for him at school. But a majority of kids will have smartphones and computers at home, so that's not going to be a problem. Also, the biggest problem against using technology in the classroom is working against the resistance, because you will find educators, administrators, and parents will be afraid of this system because they've never seen it before. But you need to go against the flow for all the reasons we've been talking about in these videos. And so I would be a pioneer, be a hero for education, and use the technology in the classroom and educate the people who are, tell them to watch these videos and tell them why you're trying to do this and show them the results, and they will glorify you for it afterwards. The biggest example of that is social networking. Now, some states even made it illegal for teachers to add students in Facebook, and I have my own personal views about that, and I'm not going to get into detail about that, but I will tell you this much in terms of that. Social networking opens the doors for communication between teachers, students, and students. When you say, I cannot put education there, you're blocking another way in which students relate to the material. And I don't think that's a good idea. I think that the better idea is to monitor the use of those things instead of blocking the use of those things. The same way people used to block cell phones, and now you can use cell phones for polling and accessing the content and sharing the content online as well. You can use it as cameras so they can record your information. You can use this as all these things. Think about it. Question of the day. Pages for online discussions. Group discussions. Quizzing. Instant feedback, talking to the students to clarify questions, broadcasting certain assignments that you forgot to tell about in class. There's just so much that you can do through a social network that they're using anyways. One status updates on Facebook replaces 15 phone calls sometimes, if not more. I don't know. I have my... It's a controversial subject, but I will have to have my reservations about not using it. The biggest problem is actually the transparency. People are worried about you having the type of contact or one-on-one with the kid and not having any kind of monitoring over that, so that if something inappropriate happens, that's the problem, because we know there are a lot of predators out there. My response to that is that as long as you keep everything that happens virtually transparent, no hidden messages, nothing like that, and as long as you keep a good behavior when you do that, the same way you would have to keep it in person, I don't see a problem with it. So I think, again, it's not a problem of using the technology. I think it's a problem of how it's being used and how it's being monitored. And so try to use the technology and not worry so much about the reasons people say you shouldn't be using them. And I will finish this topic with some clarifications. For websites, you can have things, if you want, you gotta have your own website. Come on, it's the 21st century. There's some free ones, TeacherWeb, Edmodo, WordPress, Wikispaces, or Google Sites. You can use any of those, and they're all free. You can also have Google Docs or SkyDrive to store files. SkyDrive is a great tool. It lets you store all your stuff online up to 25 gigs for free. And you can have multiple SkyDrives accounts, one for every class you have if you're having problems with storage. And you can also have Google Docs where students can actually collaborate as well, which I like Google Docs a lot. And I also use Ustream to telecast my lectures live, and YouTube to telecast pre-recorded videos to the web. But you can also use TeacherTube if your school is blocking YouTube. In another video, I talk about getting around that. And then I also like to put on the web here some resources that have to do with using technology in the classroom. Richard Byrne has a cool blog called Free Tech for Teachers. That's really good. Another one that's really cool is a compendium of technology for teachers. It's called the Superbook of Web Tools. So check it out. The link is there. And they're going to be in the description of this video as well. You also have Cool Tools for Teachers. It's a great website. Also, Interesting Ways. It's a list of how to use technology in the classroom. And also, Teachers First is another great website. And I also like to remind you to watch the Flip Classroom or Reversed Instruction videos, and where I refer to even more technology that can be used in the classroom. to revolutionize the actual design of the classroom. All right? And please be open-minded about the use of technology in the classroom. It's definitely worth it.